All right, so today is a fun show. It's a really fun show of Be Well and Rise. It's a topic I just absolutely love talking about because it's probably the most common asked question that I get, as a health coach or as somebody who moves their body and works out. And, also as someone who loves to go plant-based. I love to eat plant-based. And I got to say, it's like a major part of my personal health journey is all around this topic. So I'm going to try to keep it as a show that is within reasonable time, but I like this topic so much. I could really see it getting out of control. But if you're here, go ahead and say hello so I know you're here and I can say hi. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. But really, I'm just going to tell you what my journey has been like and my experience about it and what I have learned. And I got to say, you're probably going to feel a lot of freedom around this conversation. And that's what I really hope. Oh, hi, Karina. I know you. I think you're going to feel a lot of freedom, actually, because I don't know about you, but it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of, like focus right now, right? And I think when your focus is so heavily on, am I getting enough protein? I should be getting enough protein. So much of the other parts of that fall to the side that are maybe even more important, right? So hopefully we can shift a little bit of that. So first of all, protein obsession is a real thing. And it's, I think, made its way through every industry. Every industry. Nobody has been left out. And you could even know that even some of our practitioners, our people that are giving us advice have been influenced by this industry at some point, right? It kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense that that's kind of how the way it goes. It's similar to the dairy industry or the supplement industry or even like the holistic wellness industry right now, right? Like, bottom line is these are huge, massive, massive business. And it's very marketing driven. It's very marketing driven because when we actually pull back and try to make sense of it, you can see the truth in it. And like I said, hopefully it lets you relax a little around it and be like, phew, okay. So I don't know. It kind of changes everything. For me, it did. Like the fear of not getting enough protein, I can feel is one of the largest barriers from eating plant-based. When I first started changing my diet to more plant-based, meaning just plant forward, right? Like just like focusing on something different, on like really trying to get in as much fresh fruits and vegetables as I could. There was an obvious block happening. Like it actually gave me anxiety that I wasn't putting protein powder in my smoothie, that I was actually using bananas. Like that I was feeling like everything but it's always said this, it's always said to stay away from that and to focus on getting enough. And if you do that, then you're going to get these results, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that actually the opposite has been true. I'm not saying that you don't get results by changing your diet and doing some like protein focused stuff. You can absolutely get results. We know that. We see it, right? You do. But when I focused on more so on like, I wanted to really truly feel good and be well, like be healthy. I wanted to feel healthy and I wanted like those health results because I was having some health stuff go on, right? And symptoms, you don't want to have these symptoms. You want to see yourself feel better, more energy, right? You want to sleep better. Maybe your hormone imbalances are going on. Maybe you're having a lot of inflammation in your body. Maybe you're feeling brain fog. Like, right? There's these symptoms that we consider almost as normal parts of aging that I'm like kind of here to challenge that for us a little bit. Like, what if what if they're normal only because we're kind of on this track and we keep going on this track? And eventually, if you stay on this track, these are the outcomes you're going to have, right? Like, what if that's the case, right? Like, it's different when you're here for 15 years on this planet, and then you're here for 25 years and 35 and 45. By 45 years, you have been doing on this track and, trying your different things and having these belief systems and applying them. And then here's the results we get. And we are in a time where the protein, right, obsession is it's in every little crevice. And we're all kind of like doing high fat, more, there's healthy fats and high protein, right? And doing our vegetables, maybe we're fitting in some of that, but right, so we have this, that's the time, right? And we're going to see the results of that. That's kind of the way it goes, right? We like get to see the results of certain trends eventually. Hopefully it's not too late, right? We want to we don't want to have any, permanent effects from having lived some of the trends and been like, dang, that one I wish I didn't live through. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have skipped out on that one. Now here we're all dealing with this. Now we're going to watch and see what happens when everyone's dealing with the results of the GLP-1. We already see some of those results, right? Like all that stuff. And that's not judging. It's just, right, it's the reality. It's like what we're seeing. There's going to be an aftermath. There's some new stuff out there, and there's new stuff out there that, is black market, and it's going to be out there one day and we're going to be able to buy it, and people are already doing it. And right, there's all kinds of stuff. I hear you can make yourself tan with like a shot or something. That's right. So we are kind of like jumping on some of the bandwagons. Some of them have been here longer than others. Some of them come back and we then live the result. So what I'm saying is, here we are. Maybe you're around my age. Maybe you're in your 40s. Maybe you're 35. Maybe you're in your 50s or so, right? You're at the ages where we start to see things change. We start to have the symptoms and we're like, well, just getting older. And I'm just going to say, or maybe it's the result of being enough time on a certain track, and eventually it's going to show itself. It can't stay in any longer. There's going to be outward expressions of whatever it is we're doing showing up in our joints, on our faces, on our bellies, right? Like in our blood work, right? So something to think about in our energy and our processing in our brain, right? And there's only so much, we can't avoid all of it, but I'm going to say that with a really good whole food foundation, getting in foods that support your system, support your body. By doing that, I'm going to say you can, one, definitely prolong some of these aging symptoms. We're just going to say it's that. But really, it's just symptoms in general. That's just symptoms. It doesn't have to do with age. Some people are going to experience this much younger, some people much older. My objective is to prolong as long as possible, if not completely eliminate some of these things. Like maybe I'll never have to be one who, right, fill in the blank, who experiences that natural aging thing that some people have and some people don't, right? Like, so I'm hoping like this gives you some of that like personal power of, like I get to choose the way I'm gonna age. And that's not just like an outward like physical thing. Yes, it is. I know we're all buying creams and ointments. No, not an ointment. You don't buy an ointment for aging, I hope. That sounds kind of weird, but you buy stuff, we buy stuff, we do stuff to like slow down the aging. But I'm just saying, like, it starts on the inside, right? Like it's inside out. We're aging from the inside out. So what if we could really prolong that, right? All right, back on the subject of protein. And why is that even being talked about? Well, because it is a big part of it. So we're used to thinking about protein as these like little dense sources of protein. These like, maybe I should kind of try to multitask, huh? Like our little chicken breasts and our meat patty and our chicken sausage and our eggs, right? Like you're used to thinking of protein as these little, or like your tofu or your nuts or, protein powder scoops, right? These dense portions. But what we forget is that all whole foods have protein. They all have protein, bioavailable protein, like the best source of protein that is your body is so natural at utilizing. All food has protein. We have just decided that we want these like dense little protein sources, right? And we forgot that all these foods have protein. So in other words, if we're eating enough food, so like, yeah, you make a salad for lunch and you are used to making sure it has protein. You put your egg on it, you put your chicken on it, and you maybe have your cheese or whatever. You're like, gotta get enough protein on there, right? But here's the thing. Now take all that off and you ate that, you would be like, I'm so hungry. It's because I didn't get enough protein. But the reality is you didn't get enough food. You didn't get enough food. That's not enough calories right there. So the big switch in your mind was, this salad now needs to be times 3, it needs to be massive, or I need to add more calories, more density to the salad. But you eat all that food, you aren't going to have to worry about protein. You're not going to worry about protein. There's enough protein in that salad, actually. If you're getting a reasonable size salad without the added little dense things. And in addition, and like I said, that's bioavailable, naturally easy to use and break down protein sources versus when we think about just like the chicken breast and just the egg and the protein powder and even like a lot of beans and tofu and right, like even those sources, like if that's our focus and we're really trying to like get all of our protein points from just like pure protein sources, you're gonna burden your organs, especially your liver. It's harder to digest. Your liver has to come up with a special blend of bile to break it down. It's strenuous on your digestion. So really, the other thing, so a lot of the advice that goes with like, make sure you get your protein in, are you getting enough protein? Make sure you get your protein in is also like, are you getting your fiber in? Are you, taking your fiber supplements? And that shouldn't be an issue. Of course, yes, if your focus is eating protein and focusing on enough protein in that way, in those kind of forms, like protein, 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 everything else comes outside of that. It's protein and then everything a little bit on the side. You're going to need fiber because it's not, right? This is not harmonious to our body. This is not harmonious to our organs. But go ahead and go back to that salad. Forget about thinking about protein. The goal is to get enough nutrient-dense food in this body. Just think about that right for a second. It's a giant salad. I'm not worried, not trying to put chicken on it, not trying to put eggs on it. I just want nutrient-dense calories right here. Maybe you're adding some steamed potatoes on there, some steamed sweet potatoes on there, right? To give more food, more food. And not to mention sweet potatoes have healing. They're healing foods. These are supporting your wellness, supporting your well-being. Nutrients, vitamins, minerals, the things that we need to stay well, to keep supporting our immune system, to help us continue to detox, to help us not need fiber, like all that food is all supportive together. And you're not going to need extra fiber, right? So do you see how that kind of goes? So what do we know? We know protein that is very market driven. There's actually goals. Protein, they want our consumption to triple. by a certain time, right? So there's very market driven goals about the high protein and the protein obsession. It has been very successful at making its way through every industry. And I want to say, what would happen if we stopped thinking about protein? Like just stopped and started thinking about what would it look like to have, first of all, like what if you didn't have to stop yourself from having this giant, wonderful, delicious smoothie that I'm about to make because you're like, but it doesn't have enough protein. So that's what I remember happening, like when I was kind of like adopting this, like how to eat to heal mindset. So that's just, I just threw a cup of mango. I never measure really, so I can't see anything. Let's try like this. Let's go like that. Okay. So I put 2 bananas in here. I just threw a cup of mango in there. Usually I think I throw way more because it looks so little. I'm going to put some pineapple in here. Like, look, do you know how this uncomfortable this smoothie made me when I first started? Do you know how uncomfortable this smoothie made me? To not go grab scoops of protein powder, to put all that fruit in there. All I'm thinking is, oh, all that sugar, all that sugar. But this is fruit. It's got so much. It's not just sugar. It's our antioxidants. It's what keeps our cells happy and healthy and keeps us from aging. It's everything. It's our vitality. This is some spirulina. I mean, if you wanted to think about protein, you want to know where, if we're talking about protein, where to get protein, you can get one of the highest, most dense sources of protein on the planet is spirulina. I mean, it's for the size, for the densest source. So put some spirulina in there. Spinach. This is something I like to drink after my workouts, right? After my workouts. So what I like about these protein sources, if we're talking protein, is these are more complete. So I don't need to deal with fiber supplements as well, right? This is all I'm going to do. And then I usually put coconut water, but I don't have any today. So we're going to do pineapple juice. I was going to do water, but I remembered that I actually have pineapple juice. I could put some aloe in here. Should I? And I'm not as scared as juice. This is pineapple juice. I'm not worried. See, I'm not like thinking like that. I'm not thinking about protein and sugar all the time. Yeah, sugar and then like, oh, got to get my protein, right? These are two things that I think we're too focused on. And as I started to learn how to use food to heal the body, right? Through the medical medium books. I think they're behind me. I can't find them. And I started to do cleanses, right? And different protocols that were about specifically healing these symptoms, all these things that we think we have to live with, whether they're the hot flashes or whether they're sleepless nights or, like I said, inflammation, the brain fog, the energy, the weight gain suddenly. These are all things that are your body like letting you know that something's going on and it needs support, right? And as you learn that your body needs support, specifically your liver, when you're having a lot of these common aging symptoms are usually going to go point to your liver, then like, I need to work on my liver health. And when you think I need to work on my liver health, you learn that the high protein, high fat focus has been really hurting our livers, causing all these symptoms that are aging symptoms, but that really are liver symptoms to surface sooner and sooner, earlier and earlier. That's why you see younger and younger people dealing with perimenopause symptoms, which are really truly just liver symptoms, right? So the stuff all starts to make sense. And I've been working on this for 9 years. So this is not something I just decided today or saw a TikTok video and decided I was going to tell you the same thing. This is tried and true by many more than just myself. But so what am I forgetting? Let's see. I mean, everything in here has, these are all fruits and vegetables, right? And they spinach, leafy greens and fruit, and everything in here is, right, we've got enough calories to fill my belly, right? Because it's big. This is a big smoothie. Let's blend it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, all whole foods contain amino acids, protein in some form. All right. So all of them. And so if you're eating enough of them, you are getting plenty of protein. You're getting enough protein. Bioavailability really does matter. There's a couple whole leaves in there. But like, see, look at the size of this. Like, I'm not starving. I used to think that I'd be starving if I didn't focus on protein, if I didn't eat meat. And I'll tell you, I had it for every single meal. I had, a bison burger for breakfast with eggs and maybe like a spinach scramble with maybe avocado. So that was like breakfast. And my snack would probably be like string cheese and a few nuts and some like half an apple or something, right? Like something like that. Like I was focused on that balance, and which is all good. I'm not saying nothing's wrong. I'm just saying this is obviously a very big difference of what I used to do versus what I do. Every meal had protein, and I really focused on that. And to change to this was a huge deal. And I'll tell you that, I mean, I absolutely feel different. I look different and I act different. Like it completely changed me. Like this is the makings of my body, right? Like it's made up of lots of fruits and vegetables. I never feel like I don't have enough. So I'm just here to put you at ease that if you don't feel like you're getting enough protein, I would say take a deep breath, make yourself a smoothie, a delicious smoothie that you probably have been holding back from for a long time. It- And so refreshing. It has everything I need. Everything I need. So good for us. And so good. We're talking about protein. And then so this is what I've noticed. You're trying to get results at the gym, and you're also dealing with like maybe 5 different physical health symptoms. Not uncommon. I don't know very many people who aren't dealing with one or another. Whether it's all this can be considered a health symptom, right? Like headaches, migraines, terrible periods, sore muscles all the time, right? Like lots of sore muscles, skin conditions, or you're dealing with autoimmune of some kind, or asthma or some kind like that, or hormone imbalances, um, depression. So something more emotional or mental. So, right. So let's just say you're dealing with some of these normal health symptoms, and you're working out at the gym, and you're really trying to focus on what food you're supposed to eat to get your gains at the gym, or lose your weight at the gym, or lose your weight in general. Like you're kind of like focused on that. Well, the the problem with the what people are typically doing to have those results is they're typically focused on high protein, right? And that is a huge issue for solving any of the root cause of any of the symptoms I just mentioned, because you're going to want to know about your liver. You're going to want to focus on your liver. You're going to want to know what it takes to let your liver cleanse and detox. And as long as we are focusing on, high protein, we are not focusing on detoxing naturally, like just letting our body do what it's made to do. It is actually not going to be doing that. It's holding all that in, therefore making more issues for your health issue, more problems with your health. So it's kind of a thing. Like, I just really feel like, man, the more people that would be open to maybe protein isn't the answer all the time, right? Like, it's not to say that it's not great. But the fact is like it's in the food. So just chill about it and focus more on getting in healing foods and foods that naturally allow your body to do what it's made to do, which actually would mean moving out that struggle for your liver, right? Like eliminating some of that struggle for your liver and your organs so that it can do what it's made to do and like let go of toxins. So I highly recommend if you are thinking like this is like ringing a bell, it's like really resonating. I feel like that's totally you're talking like to what I'm dealing with. Like my whole thing was like moody. I was moody, up and down mood, just kind of agitated a lot, irritated a lot, sore all the time, like knots and achy and sore. I felt like I got hit by a train every day when I would wake up. Like I said, like the moods or the crankiness. Then also just like honestly, like the way I felt about myself when I changed my ways, and I was always like kind of focused on physical results, right? Like how it looked. I did want to feel good. And of course I did ask that question, but I wasn't like making the connection. But I'll say that as once I started switching to more plant-based and going focused on fruits and vegetables and really making that the main source and really moving out the protein dense sources like that so that I could cleanse and started cleansing, the results were all the things I wanted on the outside. So I lost weight, right? My skin changed, my puffiness changed, right? My vibe changed, my attitude changed, So all the things I was doing, like so many things, like listening to things and reading things and taking all the things and willing to kind of do anything to get these results, using all the products, everything, right? It was like all the things I was trying to do on the outside, it really was like making this internal change. Cause it's like, it's hard, but it's actually like easier to just like focus on how can I make this meal? How can I make this smoothie? How can I make this plate of food? How can I make this eating experience, that whatever I'm consuming, more nutrient dense, more leafy greens, more fresh fruits and vegetables? Like if that becomes your focus, like it did to mine, the other stuff just kind of like works itself out and falls away. Like a lot of the bad foods fall away. The more you do this, the easier it gets, right? The more you do this, the more food that's not good food, it's healthy food, doesn't fit into your diet. Like dairy doesn't fit into my diet anymore. It slows things down. It clogs up your whole lymphatic system. A lot of things that I would eat regularly I don't anymore. So it does make you more aware of exactly how things impact you and infect you. And so it's kind of easier to say, like, nah, that's not really for me, And I know when we have it all the time, it's much harder to say no to it because it's like you just want more. I was just going to show you a book or two. I've got this book, Liver Rescue. That's not what that says. It says Cleanse to Heal. Other book I was going to say is Cleanse to Heal is a really good, if you're looking for a place to start eating to heal, I would say check out Cleanse to Heal. But Liver Rescue, speaking of the subject that we're speaking of, this book, freaking life-changing. They all are. But this kind of blows your mind because once you learn about your liver, you learn how to if it's like weight you're trying to lose, if it's weight you're trying to gain, if it's skin, if it's youth, if it's right, it's like mood, like all those types. Like here is the root. The root is here, right here. So it's nice to know. You do this one thing, and you've got all these results, and it's still something I've got to work on all the time because you still get exposed. And I have damage that I've had more time making. I've had more time creating an issue than I have cleaning up the issue. So I probably will be cleaning it up forever. It's just part of my life now. And if you are looking for help, if you're looking for someone to work with doing this and talk to about this, like stick around, keep showing up to these. I'm posting stuff on YouTube now. That's where these end up going. They're on YouTube. You can be part of the Rise and Shine Reset. That's where I really walk you through building a healthy plant-based foundation. And it doesn't have to only be plants, just by the way. It's not all or nothing. It's like you start where you're at, and we make moves to make it healthier, to make it better, right? But I hope that this was enough to just help you relax on, am I getting enough protein, and having that be your focus. And I'm sure this is not enough. It's way too deep. And I'm sure the very next person you talk to, the next trainer you talk to, the next nutritionist you talk to, or dietitian you talk to, they're going to bring up protein. So I don't know what to tell you, but I hope that you can, like, kind of think about this for a minute, like how this makes sense or doesn't, what makes sense to you. Use your discernment about this. Like, what kind of freedom would that give you if you didn't have to think about protein, and instead you just kind of thought about, what feels like nutrient dense, like what's fruits and what's like vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are going to be all supporting my systems, and what feels harmonious in my body, what feels harmonious in the world, because it all gets to go together. It's not all separate, and it all goes together, and that's like the beauty of it. Yeah, it would actually, like, I think, change the world. Personally, I think people would be less medicated. I think people would be, yeah, there would be, I mean, it would change the entire structure of medicine. I mean, if we all, like, remembered that plants are here to support us, and ultimately are our way out. They are our way out of this health mess that we have going on right here. I feel like it would, like, absolutely change the world, and not to mention the ripple effect of what it would look like to be moving through a world where the supply and demand is about just trying to get us the most nutrient dense fruits and vegetables just growing and taken care of, and the land. I mean, isn't that, sorry, this is not what I'm talking about, but I am. This is what I'm talking about. It's just I can't help but to notice, like, the connection, because I am, like, a spiritually driven soul. And, I absolutely am kind of obsessed with, like, harmony, and, like, the idea of that. It, like, just always has made sense to me that, like, when I'm wondering, like, what the right thing is and what I should do and what feels, it's like I love thinking about what is harmonious. And not to say that I'm so harmonious all the time. I'm definitely not. And I don't have it all figured out, even kind of. But I kind of, like, that does steer me, and it does drive me to, like, almost, like, always kind of go back to that thought of, like, how does this make sense on a bigger picture, on a bigger scale? How does this fit in with other things? Like, and then when it really, like, makes sense and fits in, and it's also, like, feels like the right path, So, I'm about trying to live in alignment with my soul's desire, my heart's desire, and trying to, like, be an expression of that and live an expression of that and have my choices reflect that. And I really just see, like, that's what I'm doing here. And that's what I'm doing, is, like, working on that. And what is the work I need to be working on or doing in this lifetime? It's like, well, I don't know what fits in with my, heart and soul's desire, and what's not matching up, what vibe isn't fitting, what relationships fit, what relationships aren't fitting. How can I be different in these relationships, or in the words I'm using, and the way that I'm showing up in the world, the way that I'm showing up here? Like, where's the integrity in it, right? Like, I'm working on it. That's what I'm trying to work on. And I think it's important that what my intention is, because, like, I don't know, I would want to know what people's intentions are behind what they're bringing, right? And I mean, truly, like, we can talk about Vimergy. Like, the reason we love Vimergy is because they have integrity. The company has integrity. They're not taking the bottom line and obsessed on that to where they're going to take from us and be like, "Oh, well, they can have a shittier product because we need to make this number better," you know? Like that matters. All that matters on every level. Like what intention is, who drives this vehicle, who's the driving force behind this message, you know? Yeah. Okay. Well, that definitely did not go according to my notes here, but I hope there was some value here. And for you, I hope there was something you should take away, at least something, if not anything else. This wonderful, beautiful green smoothie. It is absolutely perfect smoothie for a little before you work out, a little after you work out. It literally checks every box, supporting your body naturally, exactly what it needs, fueling it, building strong muscles, and, feeding all of our everything. So I don't know. Okay, that's all. I gotta go. And I really appreciate you showing up and leave a message for me. I'd love to answer questions or hear your comments. And bye for now.